y'all feeling? Apparently, this was a black moon. It's cool. At least it wasn't a blue moon. A blue moon is when you have two moons in the same thing. Talib, the poet, trap fashion guru. What's up? Peace, peace. Welcome, welcome. So, we experienced the new moon on the 23rd, and that was fun. It was in let me go to my PowerPoint. The new moon was in Virgo Leo energy. So the next new moon that we get is going to be in Libra Virgo energy, right? And so why do you say two signs? I say two signs because not only do I do the zodiacs, the tropical, the western, but I also do the Vedic, which is the constellation, the eastern way. Um, Both to me and my reality, and I have tried, tested, and proven. I've been doing readings for over 10 years. Will every reader agree with me? No. A lot of readers don't agree with me, but this is how I do it. And for the people that have come to me for readings, I've been doing the planetary forecast for about 7, 8 years now. I've always been on point with how I do it. Is that to take away from other readers who do it differently or have different points of view? No. They be on point in their own realm. You go to whoever speaks to you. You understand? That's how it goes. I don't really flow in the realms of right or wrong. There is no one way. It's infinite ways to do it. It's infinite mindsets to have about it. It's about what fits for you when you go to get your reading or you to get your astrological news or whatever. So and over here, unless nobody's world, okay? Because I know y'all love to debate, y'all love to pop up and say this is wrong, that is the. I don't want to do none of that with y'all. I don't care enough. Over here, unless nobody's world, the tropical chart deals with how we think things are to be. Okay, these are our thoughts, how we think things are, our mindset, our education, right? And then in our Vedic chart, we deal with the events, what's happening. And that's why a lot of times the Vedic will feel more accurate because, even though our mind might be doing one thing, events might be doing something else. Also, another way to mirror that kind of energy is everything starts with a thought. So the tropical chart is about 24 degrees ahead of the Vedic chart. So it starts with the thought and then the action follows. Also, you can get into the draconic chart, which we also do in nobody's land. Okay, so in the draconic chart, which is dealing more so with the moon and the moon, nodes and New Year rising and everything like that. That's when you get into the spiritual aspect, your auric body, which is way big, way big. And it usually goes into rooms, it goes into spaces first. That's why when your body finally does follow, you have deja vu. Or so first it starts with the draconic chart. The draconic transits always happen first. Spirit first, energy first, aura first. It's always in a room first. It's always in a space first. Then your thought process comes, right? And that's why we go outside and we ground ourselves and we get downloads and we get thoughts, and sometimes we get other people's thoughts because other people's auras are in our space. You get into the alignment of the draconic energy. It's so fun there because not only do you interact with people on a physical level, but you also interact with people on a spiritual energetic level, and you might not ever meet them in the physical. They might just be in the spiritual or the energetic level. You know what I'm saying? That might just be what those interactions are going to be, and that's the only place it's going to be at, right? Sometimes it also comes into your thoughts. So not only is your aura interacting, but now you're having these thoughts. Now you're having these downloads. Some of you guys call them, intrusive thoughts. Some of you guys have daydreams. Some of you guys have dreams. Some of you guys have your imagination. You go outside, you download, you receive, you open your crown chakra, you open up the chakras in your souls as you ground yourself. It's all fun there, right? And then the events follow up in the Vedic chart. The Vedic chart is always the slowest because the physical body is the slowest out of all three of these things, okay? So that's how it goes in nobody's land, in case you guys were wondering. And this is also how I do my readings. If you want to align your mind, body, and soul, you align your draconic, tropical, and Vedic chart, and that's how you get that flowing. It also helps when you're getting into your internal clock and how your internal, gears are turning and when they're aligned for you to make certain decisions or have certain amount of energy or be able to do certain things. That's another, a thing to look at, keep into consideration. So yeah, that's what we do here, and that's what the planetary forecast is in alignment with. the black moon that we have in this month. This is like the second new moon. Actually no, this is the third new moon in our calendar. That's what it is, because this is not the second new moon in the month. Last new moon was July. Did not have, the blue moon or any of that this month. We have an extra new moon in this 4 month, or 3 month, quarter. Depends on how you look at the wheel of the 12 months. Y'all know that when we get into ancient Kemetic realms, we have 3 seasons, 4 months of seasons. But when we get into present day American, how Americans do it, we have 4 seasons and 3 months of season. It's the opposite. So that's that there. That's that there. So this is indeed a seasonal black moon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I've been sleepy all weekend, y'all. I've been like fighting for my life. Hey Leon, how you doing, love? I've been fighting for my life. Hey Brittany. And I just been tired. I just been really, really tired. But it is what it is. So, let's get into it. I don't allow guests in when I do the planetary forecast. I try to keep on task, and also let y'all know I got trust issues. And sometimes y'all be coming in on my live and y'all be talking crazy and doing crazy stuff, or y'all want to debate and stuff. I don't got time for that. I don't make time for that. And I try to put in consideration that people are watching this video in the future and they don't got time for that neither. So let's just keep it to the planetary forecast. All right. So getting into it. Tammy, if you would like a personal reading, you can message me. Usually I do readings on Wednesdays. At the end of the planetary forecast, I do a collective reading for everybody. I read y'all out. That's what I call it. Let me read y'all out real quick. But no, I don't. You gotta catch me on a Wednesday, or message me if you want a personal reading. So starting on the 23rd, we went through that real heavy last planetary forecast. If y'all want to check out that one, it was a great time there. However, let's get it, for the first quarter from ascending to IC, that's the first house to the third house. We did have that energy. In Taurus. So the first house was in Taurus in our events. So a lot of things balancing your emotions in the material realm. Now in our mindset in the tropical, that first house was in Gemini. So it was all about intellect, being witty, being in your, being in the community, communicating, being quick on your feet, having opportunities, learning how to be focused and flexible rather than fickle and all over the place. We did have the fortune sitting on that line. The second house started in Cancer in our thought process. So those of you guys who made moves to creating safe spaces, nurturing spaces, tapping into the feminine energy, things of that nature, that's where the abundance was. That's where, people were feeling. That's where a lot of business opportunities were at. We got Jupiter there expanding that vibe. A lot of people have been looking for safe spaces. So for those of you guys who have been creating them, I'm sure during this lunar cycle has been very lucrative and very successful for you guys. So congratulations. Hey Katie. Hey Sahara. And then we come into the third house of community and communication. We have Mars there giving us the motivation to move in our community and communication. We also had Mercury there, so applicating the, community, applicating how we communicate, what we're learning about, all that third house energy. Would help us on our daily routine, our health and wellness. So it might have gotten a little difficult to have like a stable schedule or routine, because Gemini can pull you all over the place with all the opportunities and stuff. But that was, the vibe that we have, being so that in our mindset, the first house was in Gemini anyway, as well as in Draconic. We'll learn that right now, because last year was a little different, and the year before that we actually had the Vedic chart more so in alignment with the Draconic chart, but right now the tropical chart is more so in alignment with the Draconic chart. So our mind and our spirit are in alignment. The Vedic chart is following up thereafter. Okay, so that's the AC to the IC line. IC line is more so about your sense of belonging and wanting to be in tune with people. When you get into the fourth house, every little noise. Hey Donald. So when we get into the fourth house of emotions and home and family and nurturing and nourishment, we had the sun. We started, it was a new moon, so we had the sun and moon there nurturing. Our experience, and our experience was definitely craving for that desire to have a space. Again, like I said, Jupiter was over there in Cancer energy, expanding on that energy. Venus was also there in Cancer energy. So seeking nurturing spaces, seeking those communities, wanting to tap, whether you're going inward or you're out here with a community, because we do have, some energy in the third house, because the first house, the ascendant energy is in the Gemini space. So you have that balance of going inward and being outward and finding the space, finding a sense of belonging is heavy there, right? So it wasn't that much room for stability. It wasn't that much room for, yeah, every Monday we're gonna do this, every Tuesday we're gonna do that, every Wednesday it wasn't that much room for things of that nature. So it's okay to give yourself grace. When I speak to y'all, I speak to myself. It's okay to give yourself grace on the fact that we had a little bit of difficulty on finding that schedule, if you will. Then we come into the fifth house of creativity, getting into our inner child, attaching to our patriarchal lineage, the masculine energy, our experiences, all that fun stuff. Now that energy was actually pretty big this lunar cycle. We started it off with it going from Virgo to Libra energy. So, definitely having our eye on that equinox energy, being creative, romanticizing the equinox energy, which is really cool because we do have a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse coming up. So, yay! Eclipse season. We love it here. It gets spooky. We do have, the South Node here, as well as Mars being here, giving us the motivation and, ambition and a little bit of anger. So we had, all my Librans out there was out there banging on their chest and getting angry and getting fired up, because what does air do to fire? It makes it bigger. It provides the oxygen for the fire to get bigger, which is what Mars is. So a lot of fired up energy going towards creating balance, walking in your truth, obtaining some level of justice. Interpersonal relationships is heavy here. Being in alignment with Mayat is really heavy here too. So you have some people going so far as, like, if your solar plexus chakra is overactive, trying to find that balance in that Libra, because that's what Mars rules over, the solar plexus chakra. Trying to find that balance in that Libra with your solar plexus chakra could be key. Or attracting people in your interpersonal relationship bonds and contracts that mirror or reflect where your solar plexus chakra is at, showing you that, okay, maybe you were a little too overactive, maybe you were a little underactive. However, that's what the air was doing. It was giving oxygen to our solar plexus chakra, helping us find that balance and that truth. And maybe seeing that in the reflection or the projection. Sometimes it's a projection, sometimes it's not always a reflection. Everybody ain't a mirror. Some people just be out here spewing their own reality on everybody and everything, and that's it. It is what it is. But that's what was going on in the fifth house. You know what I'm saying? And that's what was in our mindset, in our activities, the events. That fifth house went from Leo to Virgo energy. So our experience, our extroverted self, our romantic self, moving into our structured self. You know what I'm saying? Leo is very lax. Think about the behavior of a lion. It's very lax, very cool, calm, and collected. I'm just laying around. Also, a sense of loyalty, right? Because the pack stays together. They eat together. They do the things together. Bye, Carlos. All those different things. So we move from that lax energy into the harvesting energy of Virgo in our events. Now, in the Vedic chart, Mars is still in Virgo energy. So while in our mindset is all about justice and truth, and we're thinking about the balance and all these different things, what's happening in our events is what we're putting in is what we're getting out. Also being motivated in our moral and integral code, learning more, being educated, and also educating others is heavy here too. Working on your routine, as you find that balance in your mindset. All of that is happening there. Then we move into the sixth house. Now, the sixth house is the Virgo house. That is, where we're spending our health, wellness, and daily routine. Now, that house has been sitting in the energy of, it starts off in Libra, and that's in the tropical. So in our mindset, like, we do, we're still in that space of, I need balance. I want to be in my truth and how I want to spend my life. I want to interpersonal relationships, putting more so in your daily routine that relationship that you want, the kind of relationship you want, really, like, I guess, nesting, if you will, for those interpersonal relationships and those bonds and stuff that you want in your space. And our events, we have that space kind of like sitting on the cusp between Virgo and Libra energy. So it's a little slither of Virgo of events saying, hey, you have to come into a space of organization and compartmentalizing and all that. But it's more so in the Libra realm for the sixth house. of finding that balance and giving you the ability to walk in your truth and implement that in your daily routine. You guys might have noticed that this past lunar cycle, that was really easy to do, because we set up that tone or whatever to be able to do that. And then, of course, we get to the descending line. Now, when we get to the descending line, we're more at a balance, because when we're at the ascending line, which is, around the first house, it's how I'm exerting myself, how I'm putting myself out there. It's all about me, 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 me. But then when we get into the descending line, now it's about the balance of we. Where's the we at? Okay. And in between, the we, you have the IC line. You have to have a sense of belonging. From the ascending to the IC line, you're like, okay, what do I want? Where do I feel good? What do how do I want to exert myself? What do I expect from others? What do I value? What do I prioritize? What kind of community do I want? What am I, what do I know? What kind of opportunities do I want? And then once you get into the 4, it's like, who's accepting me? Who's hugging me? You get into the more emotional realm between the 4th and 5th house. Then you get into the 6th house of, what you put in is what you're going to get out. And then by the time we get to the 7th house, we're at a balance of the 2, right? All right. So the descending line in our mindset on a tropical was starting at Sagittarius energy. Okay. We done went through the bottom half of the wheel just now. Okay, from the 1st to the 7th, we went through the bottom half of the wheel. This is beneath the horizon at the moment. Beneath the horizon is from Gemini to Sagittarius. Okay, that's down below. So above us is from Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. That's what's above us. Okay, so and that's in our thought process, right? That's what's above us, and that's what's below us. And then in the events of the things, the DC line is, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but hi, Ashutosh. What's up with you? In the events of things, that 7th house is in Scorpio. So that balance and the truth and things like that are experiencing transformation. Transformation happening heavy here in our events when it comes to that interpersonal relationship, bonds, and contracts. Different friends, not your friends no more. And I'm not talking about groups. I'm talking about me and you, me and you, me and you, one-on-ones. Whatever bond or contract you had with somebody is undergoing transformation, whether you guys are staying together through the transformation or the transformation is the departing or the coming together in itself. You know what I'm saying? But as you walk in your truth and, you start to allow certain things to reveal themselves to you, like Libra and Scorpius together is really revealing, right? Because they both, while Libra deals with that justice part of the truth, Scorpio is a little bit more messy. It's more so like the gossiping part of truth. So, you have that blend of both happening. Like, I don't know if I'm learning this information in the righteous realm or not, but it's still going to create transformations in your space. We, in our thought process, we do have Lilith as well as the vertex. That's how we started off this moon cycle, the Lilith and the vertex and Scorpius energy. So transformations was happening to our primordial selves, our rebellion, how we are rebelling, and that was also happening in the 6th house. So it was something that you had to implement in your routine, something you were learning about, something you were putting into your moral code that you had to rebel against, that was creating a transformation, empowering transformation at that. Because this certain gossip, the way Scorpio moves is, when I tell you this truth, it's going to be messy, but it's going to empower you. It's stuff you need to know, because it's going to tell you how to moving forward with your solar plexus chakra, right? The vortex is also here, so attracting transformations in your space was here. I was big on around that time. Well, yeah, over this weekend, yeah, I could see the transformations. I could see the truth and the different things happening. I'm in my mind thinking about the previous lunar cycle, where the last new moon was July 24th, leading up to this new moon. It was just like, yeah, it makes sense that these things are ending on a Scorpius energy, with those lines being there. So peace to y'all if you guys are dealing with different relationship situations and stuff like that. I see some people ask me some personal questions about relationships. Hopefully me talking about the 7th house being in Scorpius energy revealed some things to you. In our mindset, that seventh energy is in Sagittarius, so it's expansion and abundance. Being optimistic in your mindset will definitely help you as you're undergoing those transformations. So allow that to be what it is. But just know that in our mindset, Lilith is in Scorpio, so it's helping you with your rebellious self. In our events of things, that Lilith is in Libra energy. So you walking in your truth is going to be seen as rebellious and revolutionary. And of course, for that energy, there will be an equal opposite energy, because it is happening in the sixth house, and six is the number of equality. What you put in is what you're going to get back. So you can know that it's going to be like super easy for you to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want that anymore. This isn't working for me, or that is working for me, or I want this in my space now, or I want this in my life now. And that equal opposite energy is going to come back almost instantaneously and try to put fear in your heart, try to deter you from doing certain things, try to derail you, different things like that, because that is the sixth house energy. And we are dealing with the descendant energy. So that's how we start off the wheel and the bottom half of the wheel. Now, before we get to the top half of the wheel, I would like to go through the bottom half of the wheel that we're leading up to. So the next new moon is September 21st, 2025. So that's 939. So we heavy on the creation numbers. 9 and 3 come together and make 1 and 2. That brings us to 3. So this is a day of 3. Now, it's very interesting because I want to say lately we've been having, hold on, because this last new moon was on an 8/23/9. So that's 5 and 8. That's 13. Yeah, the last few new moons we've had was on a day of 4. 7/24/9 was the last one. So that was 2, 4, that's 6. 7 and 6 come together. They make 13. We have been dealing with a lot of 13 new moons. These new moons calling on us on a karmic, to speak to our karmic energy, our karmic debt. 13 is considered an unlucky number, and it's associated with karmic debt, because what happens is one is knowledge, one is also action, one is the ketters, while 3 is expression, emotion, and understanding. Now, we live in a society that wants us to stand under this, a bunch of stuff a bunch of dead people wrote a long time ago. We don't know them people. We don't know all the details. All we know is what's being spoon fed to us. And we have distrust with the people that are spoon feeding us. You know what I'm saying? We know, this is a Stockholm syndrome type of situation happening. A lot of the stuff that y'all teaching us is either asinine, stuff that should be like someone's hobby or personal interest, or it's misinformation. You know what I'm saying? It's not really things that we can carry on to our everyday life and implement. And I'm not saying all the information that we have, but a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? So when you come into the karmic number 13, even historically, those, the moon has 13 phases. So those that were seen celebrating and worshiping the moon, and I just got done listening to a Bobby Hemmett video. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he did have a point in the space where he read a couple books that were saying that the melanated people were in alignment with the moon. They're moon people. So, camel walking with that idea, I got to go through a rabbit hole to confirm or deny, so please just listen what I'm saying and keep your emotions out of the conversation. But which is really hard to do when we're talking about the moon, right? But with the karmic number 13, those that were seen worshiping or celebrating the moon, especially on a Friday the 13th, because Friday is Venusian, very feminine energy. We're dealing with the waters here. And then the 13 is the 13, phases of the moon. So that was a very special day. And those that were seen celebrating that energy were tortured. They were killed in front of the community. They were like, crazy things was happening to these people because we were in that space of the Crusades, and the Christians and the Catholics or whoever, they were like heavy on, it has to be the sun. It has to, and it can't be anything esoteric anymore. They even like work the Bible into like making sure they implement like nothing spiritual, nothing. And that's, it's kind of crazy, but that's how they were going about, the information. They even went into our ancient texts and tried to make our ancient information taboo or forbidden or whatever, what have you, which is very interesting, because then they'll turn around, create a whole Discovery Channel, study and feed us back our information and say, oh yeah, they studied the sun and the moon and stuff. And the things they did is older than the book we edited to tell you guys that that stuff is evil. Very interesting work, but it is what it is. Anyway, so that's why 13 is considered a karmic number, because it's very difficult to express what you know, and act on how you feel in a world that wants you to, just do what everybody else is doing. And you guys know I talk about this heavily. Hey, Majestic, I love the way you spell your name. I like how you spell Dynasty too. That's fire. Um, but it's where was I going? Oh, so when you do get into that 13, 1 and 3 come together, makes 4, which creates the culture, the freedom. So if you're standing under somebody else's thoughts, or you're taking action on someone else's feelings and expression and stuff like that, that is the 4. That is the mayat you've created for yourself, And we see that, people that are their 13 is being controlled by the government, the education system, Hollywood and celebrities, what they doing, influencers on the internet and stuff like that. When their 13 is being controlled and manipulated by those people, it's creating a culture in them. They're projecting that out into the world. I didn't watch influencers do all of this stuff on the internet all day. So now, I use those slang words. Now I do those dances when I'm around people. Now I eat those kind of foods. Now I buy those things on the internet. Like, you get what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying. And we are now entering the age of Aquarius, where it's about being unique and united, rather than being that school of Pisces and fish going on, swimming together all in one accord, and everybody has the same thoughts and everybody has the same feelings and everybody's doing the same thing, and it creates a herd immunity if we all are doing the same thing, because anybody that was seen moving outside of that was unalive, right or wrong. Look at our leaders. Look at our people that were walking in their 13 as an individual, as a leader, and was trying to tell other people how to walk in their 13s as a leader. They were unalived in front of us. And that's been going on since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? So, nothing new under the sun. However, I would like to think entering the age of Aquarius, it'll be a little bit more accepted for us to be in our 13s, right? They don't understand. They don't. And it's okay. It's okay. I've been doing this for like 10 years. I've been walking in my power and my purpose on my 13. Somebody gonna get it. I know that it's not gonna be everybody, but in my journey, the feedback that I have received, it's been a lot, and a lot is enough. It doesn't have to be everybody, I guess. But that's the power of the 13, is to be in your unique, united self, standing under what you know, taking action on what you know, expressing what you know, it's your own understanding. That 3, that being of that understanding, is your root chakra. And a lot of us are rooted in these entities that are being spoon fed to us, right or wrong or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? So, having that realm. I don't even know how we got here on the 13, but because I was getting into the numerology of the new moons. Because the new moon before that was 7/24/9, and that was 6, and that was another 13, so that was 4. And whatever we put into a 9, we're going to get right back. So we actually get 2 13s. The last 2 new moons, we got 2 13s. So this new moon, 9/21/9, we're actually getting a 3 this year, this new moon, which is real different. And then I like that we're getting a 3 this new moon on 9/21/9, because 3 is a number of expression and creation. And what better time to have a space of expression and creation than under the harvest new moon? You know what I'm saying? So heavy on the manifesting under this new moon, right? Heavy on the manifesting and the harvesting. So let's get into the bottom half of the wheel for 9/21/9. So like I was telling you guys before, hey loved one. So like I was telling you guys before, we start this lunar cycle with the first house being in Gemini in the tropical, Taurus on the Vedic, So now the first house, how we're exerting ourselves, by the time we get to 9/21 on the tropical, it'll be in Cancer. So hopefully you guys are still moving towards finding that sense of belonging, your emotions, nurturing your emotions, being in your truth for how you feel, being in tune with your intuition, the spiritual realm of things. Water is very heavy here. That is the Cancer deals with the top of the ocean. That Yamoja energy is the top of the ocean. Also dealing with like your study trusting your intuition, excuse me, is big here too. And we have the fortune here, so for those of you guys who are creating nurturing spaces, safe spaces for people, it's very lucrative here as far as the business, not business aspect goes, but just whatever fortune seems to you. And Jupiter is also here. Now Jupiter is the business. Jupiter is the business aspect, so a lot of businesses coming out, creating spaces. This one's for the mothers, and this one is for the fathers, and this one is for both, and this is for relationships, and this one is for my spiritualists, and this one is for my Christians, and this one is for my Hebrews. And just creating those nurturing spaces, more nurturing, emotional, safe spaces for people. Now, for those of you guys who are trying to get into having a wellness business or a spiritual business, I'm like, right now, that kind of realm is lucrative right now. It says Jupiter sitting over there in Cancer. So you might want to go that realm with things, because while Jupiter is in Cancer on the tropical in our mindset, Jupiter is in Gemini on the Vedic chart. So the community is going to respond, because that's what Gemini is about, the community responding, that equal opposite energy. You got the one twin that's mortal, the one twin that's immortal. When the one twin does something, the other twin wants to do it with them. You know what I'm saying? So that was the story of the Gemini twin. Like, I don't, my brother died. I know I'm the immortal one. I want to go too. You're not going by yourself. You know. So those are the two things. Also, intellect is very heavy here, being witty. So not only is it like nurturing, but also education, providing that edification, giving that information, all of that is here, of how you should be asserting yourself. Some people, they go crazy. Like my fire babies, y'all probably going crazy with the first house as the first house leads up to Gemini and Cancer, because fire energy doesn't really like the Cancer energy, because fire likes to be extroverted and go outward, and rah, and that Cancer energy is like, nah, let's go inward, let's be here, chill out. And that could be very irritating. And then we have the air, and the air is providing the oxygen, so there might be a bit of a blockage. I feel a little anxiety trying to feel that fire energy. I feel a little anxious for y'all. So you have that going there for you guys, as far as like how you exert yourself into your space and what you expect from others in your space too. Yeah, I might have some humble pie experiences to my fire babies, and that's what's that, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius vibes. Then we get into the second house. Now the second house in our mindset starts off in Cancer energy. So again, second house deals with wealth and business, love, what you value, what you prioritize, things of that nature. So that's starting off in Cancer in our mindset. So again, coming back to the spot, like business is good over there. You might want to hop on board. It's ending up in the Leo energy, so that creativity, that confidence. Leo rules over that energy. Leo is the heart that's on fire. Leo is associated with that Tippereth energy, which is the balance between your upper Sephiros or Netarus and the lower ones. Leo energy also deals with the inner theatrics. So theater, movies coming out, television shows coming out. Those of you guys that are in alignment with that realm of things, that's business is good there as well. Then in our events, what's happening around us is the second house is in Cancer. So while your mindset is on all of these, like, second house Leo ideas, what's responding is intuitive events, your emotions, the emotions you attract from other people. Emotions, external motions, so allow that to flow how you like it to flow. You know what I'm saying? Then we get into the third house. Now third house, I didn't say no planning for the second house, because there's nothing in the second house by the time we get to the next new moon. Now when we were in starting off right now, we have Jupiter in the second house. So Jupiter will be flowing into, by the time we get to the next, new moon cycle, Jupiter will be back in the first house. So just a little tidbit on that, in case you're like, what the hell, what happened? So we don't have anything in the second house right now, but we still have those zodiac and constellation energies over the second house. So keep that in mind. When we get into the third house, now we're in that space of community and communication, the light traveling, the intellect, your focus is heavy here, and we have Mars there. That the solar plexus. Um, I'm sorry, I get those symbols mixed up. It's Venus. I want this symbol to be Mars so bad, but Venus is there. So Venus rules over the heart chakra. We have our heart chakra in that space of community and communication. Venus rules over like that's Het Heru, that's like net talk, that's the celestial designer making things all pretty in our space. What you value and what you prioritize is where you would see that beauty at, right? Now in our mindset, that's in Virgo. So putting your ability to design what you value, what you find wealth in, that connectivity of love, and emotional connectivity. Forgiveness is a big one here too. Remember, what you put in is what you're going to get back out. So if you're just sitting, and there's nothing wrong with sitting and meditating and manifesting and praying and all that stuff like that. But if that's all you're putting in, that's all you're going to get back. Is that really all you want back? Is the thoughts and spirit speaking back to you, or do you want to experience it in the physical? If you want to experience it in the physical, remember, Venus don't just talk about the intangible. Venus is about the tangible as well. It's not just about love. It's also about the physical things, the things as well. And so is Virgo. All right. Virgo is about the harvest. So keep that in mind when we're dealing with Venus over here in Virgo in the third house. It's actually a fun space. I like it there. Now, as far as whether they get along or not, Virgo is way more intellectual. But listen, I know that they have we get along and we don't get along. I'm an alchemist. I'm a manifester, and I'm an 11 life path. Don't play with it, okay? Some do, some don't get along. But if you're an alchemist, you will learn how to allow things to get together to get along. You understand what I'm saying? So same way you have Venus sitting over here. Venus is, that balance between how I feel and what I have. Virgo is saying, hey, organize that shit. Harvest with that. What you feel and what you have. What do you want? What do you want to feel and what do you want to have versus what you already feel and what you already have. Let's compartmentalize, let's organize, and get these steps from where you're at and where you want to be. And then ask yourself if you're really willing to do those steps. Now, if you're not an alchemist, them energies is not going to get along. You're going to be stuck in your feelings and your imagination versus what's actually happening around you. And you're going to create a blockage in your space, because I'm sure those are two different places, okay? We live in an infinite realm. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for more. There's always something somewhere. I can always lose a couple more pounds. I can always, use a couple extra pair of shoes. I can always make a couple more dollars on, here or there. You know what I'm saying? There's always something else. You know what I'm saying? So if you're sitting in that rut of things, no, you're not going to get out of it. What you, like I keep saying, what you put in is what you're going to get back out. And then we come into the line of, the IC line. Now we're in our space of belonging. Where do we belong at? And we actually have the South Node sitting right on that line of where we belong at. And our mindset is Virgo. Our comfort zone, our comfort self is in, that harvest. We know how the harvest moves. We know how to manifest. We know how to get what we want. You know what I'm saying? We're moving towards that Pisces energy of belief and being more unorthodox and, finding a blend between the two of those, right? Between our North and South Node. And then in the events of things, our South Node is actually in Leo energy. That confidence and courageousness, that attention seeking, the patriarchal lineage, our inner child. These are things we know. These are comfort zone things. And we're moving towards that Aquarius energy of being rebellious, being more about the we. But the we doesn't take away from you. See, this is my North and South Node, so I get it. My South Node is in Leo, my North Node is in Aquarius, so I'm actually awakened in this space. And what I've noticed in a lot of the energies that have, come to me to reflect the fact that we have entered this energy and my nodes are activated, is like the fear of getting out of the me. Going into the we of Aquarius does not take you away from the me. You can be unique. That's the goal. That's the goal of Aquarius. Wants that unique energy. You utilize that Leo energy of creativity. Utilize that Leo energy of theatrics and love and romance and all that stuff. Use that. But you see how the lions, they all do stuff in one accord. We hunting, we sleeping, we napping, we drinking. It's like this sense of uniformity of, I'm doing these things to be accepted, to be a part of the pack. Where Aquarius is like, this is the we. However, this we allows you to be your unique self. You're going to be united, but you're still yourself. And you don't have to blend in with the pack here to get a sense of togetherness. Okay? That's not how it works. I hear a lot of, and you know what? I don't even want to go into that right or wrong. But when I hear a lot of astrologers go from the we to the me, it seems a little miscommunicated a little bit, and a lot of it does seem regurgitated from the initial miscommunication. And so I just wanted to clarify that a little bit because I think one of the examples that everybody likes to use is Destiny's Child and Beyonce, because I think me and her share the same nodes. I believe she's opposite. She's flipped mine though. Her south node is Aquarius while her north node is Leo. So you go from being in a group to being a solo artist. But what you guys fail to realize, when Destiny's Child was together, everybody was still their unique self. You knew when you heard Kelly, you knew when you heard Michelle, you knew when you heard Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? You knew these things. They still had their uniqueness. They may have the same patterns and colors on, but their outfits were cut different. Their bodies were shaped different. Their voices were different. Their styles were different. Everything was still different, but it was still a unified energy, right? So that's that there, right? And so we're in alignment with that energy. Leo North Node, Aquarius South Node. That's yours? Or are you correcting me? Because if you're correcting me, thank you. Yeah, I always get those symbols mixed up. I do. I ain't gonna hold y'all. But yeah, we are in the north node of between Aries, Pisces, and Aquarius. It depends on which realm you're looking at. So yours is, if that's you personally, then you're activated too. How you like it? You like your experiences. And then we get into so we're in the fourth house now. And like I said before, not too long ago, when we started the fourth house, we were starting in Leo in our thought process, Cancer in the events. So our sense of belonging was between the internal and external third eye, energy, between our thoughts and our activities. And we had the sun and moon there, of course, doing the new moon thing. Now, in the tropical chart, we have that fourth house starting over and Virgo energy, right? And like I said, we have the node sitting right there, the south node sitting there. And we still have the sun and moon sitting in that fourth house. So we still have our internal and external third eye energy, our experience and experience, how we exert ourselves and how we, go inward. Oh, those are your nodes? Oh, cool. So we're flipped because my south node is Leo. Cool. That happens. I meet a lot of people that got the flip or the same, and it's always interesting. It's always interesting. So that's on your tropical. If that's on your tropical, you might be a little bit different. It depends on the degrees, though. Degrees matter. We'll, get into that. But the sun and the moon are in Virgo, of course, because we're going into the next new moon energy. The new moon is at 28 degrees Virgo. So once we hit that 28 degrees in the tropical chart, we'll be at a full 2 and 8 is wisdom and the building and destroying. So at that point, because we talked about Scorpius energy heavy with that 7th house, interpersonal relationship, stuff like that. So in this space, it'll be heavy on that build and destroy, that transformation. By the time we get to this new moon, you guys should be very well versed in the transformations and how empowering they can be for you. Okay. Now, while that's going on in our mindset, what we also have Mercury in the fourth house as well. So we'll have the Sun, Moon, and Mercury in alignment, pretty close to each other during this new moon, which is really cool because Mercury deals with our decision making skills. Mercury deals with the ability to harvest. That is Virgo energy, right? By then, Mercury will be in Libra energy on the tropical chart. It will be in Virgo on the Vedic chart. We'll get into that in like 2.5 seconds. But yeah, so it'll be in that decision making space of law, justice, truth, and righteousness. Listen, this energy, so usually my mind is going to the Federal Reserve. You know, the Federal Reserve usually has their little meetings around this time. They're obsessed with the eclipses as well. Then, you know, we have local government stuff happening. And we know that the federal government is very handsy with the local government stuff because they need the people that they want to be in charge of state government and stuff like that so that the federal government could keep playing in each state's face. And so keeping that in mind, I'm really big on collective seances and stuff like that. I like point me in the direction. Where are y'all doing this at? Because I want to be a part of it. I want to bring some other people that I know to be a part of it. I tried to coordinate a few on my own. We had great turnouts, but it could be better at collective energy. You got to know that these people are harnessing this energy too, and that's where my mind is going. Especially with Mercury sitting over there in Libra energy in the fourth house, in alignment with the eclipse and the new moon energy that we're going to have. That's screaming the government's going to get involved. Okay, so because in their mind they are justice, which is crazy because their symbol is literally Lady Justice with a blindfold on, and they trying to make that sound so righteous. It's not righteous. It's not righteous to be blind to the scales. It's not. The scales of my yacht, you're supposed to see them and you're supposed to know when they're imbalanced. Okay, you're not supposed to be blind to it. That's crazy work. And then on top of that, if you stare real close, it's like she chained down too. So you're not fooling me. You might be fooling other people that don't stare hard enough. But I got a lot of Virgo placements. Don't play in my face. Okay? But I see this heavy for that space of justice and empowerment. But for those of you guys that want to, manifest a partner or bonds and Libra is also Venusian led, so you still get into the things and the wealth and stuff like that. Hey, more power to you. Go for it. I ain't mad. When we get into the fourth house on the events, you do have the sun. We do have the sun in Virgo. The moon will be making its way at a 4 degree in the sun. So four is the good number. 4 is the magic number. That's stability. That's culture. That's dependability. D and V are the letters for that one. And then we have Mercury sitting at a 10 degrees. So at that point in the Vedic chart, Mercury is making its way to the second, to the fixed area of Virgo. And you guys can get into the lunar mansions and the nakshatras with that how you will. Y'all know on the daily mathematics, I get into it. So by the time that day comes, y'all gonna know what nakshatra and stuff is, that will be entering. I got you. But yeah, so we'll have this alignment. Remember, all this is happening in the fourth house, decision making. Some of you guys have multiple opportunities for nurturing spaces, home and family and all that stuff like that. At this point, it'll be time to make a decision. It'll be time to take root in some spaces. I know we like to be all over everywhere. Trust, I know my Mars is a Gemini. But finding that space, where it's not always a conflict and stuff like that will do you justice. It's time to make a decision. It's time to make decisions and harvest and manifest with those decisions to be made. No two things can stay in the same place at the same time. That's the law of physics as long as we're in this physical body. I know your aura is all over everywhere. That's air energy. But when we're dealing with the water and when we're dealing with the earth part of ourselves, that's really just in one space for the most part, So we be aware of that. Then we get into the fifth house. I told y'all the last fifth house we had started in Virgo and Libra energy. We had the South Node there, Mars hanging out in the fifth house of Leo. And so moving on now, the fifth house is not as big. Actually, none of the houses are as big as when we started off. I think the sixth house is pretty big, but even then, like The fifth house is huge, okay? But now the fifth house has gotten a little smaller. It does start in Libra energy, and it is ending off in Scorpius energy. So the fifth house is our Tipperary, our confidence and courageousness, our balance between our higher and lower self, our inner child is here in the Leo energy. Our inner creative self, our romantic self, is in the Leo energy, and we do have Mars still sitting in the fifth house, giving us that motivation. Mars loves it in the fifth house because that's fire on fire. So, feeling yourself move to tap into some creative energy. I see some because in our mindset, Mars will be in Libra in the fifth house, motivation in that space of justice, some love songs coming out we like here. Mars is also in Libra in the fifth house on the Vedic chart as well. It's just in the tropical, it's at 29 degrees. In the Vedic chart, it's at 5 degrees. So they're in different areas. You're either going to be in the mutable or in the cardinal, right? However, either way, we're in that space of motivation, of justice, and walking in our truth, interpersonal relationships, and being motivated to do that. So I hear some love songs. I hear some justice folk type lyrics coming out. A lot of justice, people, the conscious music, but more so going towards like political justice. A lot of art coming out in that realm of things. Something might even happen to an artist. You know what I'm saying? That'll call on people to behave a certain kind of way, because we do have Lilith in the vertex here as well. Y'all be careful what y'all speaking into existence. Wherever vertex is, y'all be careful. Vertex has been near Lilith a lot, where our rebellious primordial self is. So when you guys utilize your Lilith to communicate, that portal is heavy, like super duper open to attraction. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where your personal Lilith is. Like my personal Lilith is in Sagittarius, which is not too far. It's actually in kind of like it's only one sign away. So I'm kind of like sextile, if you will. So when I speak into my Lilith energy, it comes very easily. Those things that I want come very easily because the vertex is next to Lilith. So for some of you guys, y'all be speaking death. Y'all be speaking war. Y'all be speaking brokey. Y'all be speaking on things y'all don't want. Y'all be going in the subway telling the subway person what you don't want on the sandwich. Now they don't know what kind of sandwich to make because you ain't never say what you actually wanted on it. Like, I just be doing all of that with y'all primordial energy. Please try something else. Like, actually, like, put energy towards what it is you actually want to experience, what you want to happen. What you desire, what you deserve, what you command and demand, rather than what you don't want. And be careful with those people that sit on these ones and zeros and consistently talk about the negativity and the gloom and doom. It's good to have information, but if somebody's coming from their Lilith with it, it's like you're trying to create a flower of love and unity togetherness with poisoned roots. You know what I'm saying? Like when you try to do shit in spite of somebody, in spite of something, you can't expect too much abundance and expansion to come out of that. It's always going to be in war. The shit that the colonists created is a perfect example. These colonists have been at war with each other and with the, people since they've been on these lands. There has not been a time where there has been no war. There's never been a time of peace. Why? Because the roots of what they built was in war and poison. So how the hell did y'all think y'all was about to have flowers of unity and love and togetherness and this beautiful here? It's not. And it's never going to be, because the roots are trash. It's rooted in bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So you can only get what you're rooted into. So keep that in mind, because Lilith deals with the primordial energy. That's how I got there, because that is the root. That is the primordial rebellious, who like the depths of the soul, the dark side of the moon, the dark side of your spiritual, emotional self. You get to the root of that person, that energy, that entity, or whatever. And when you utilize that energy, you gotta be very, very careful, because it's very, very powerful. We had this awesome talk in Sunday service about power versus force. And one of my points was, we never lost our power. Nobody ever took our power. What they do is they manipulate it. And they try to tell us where to exert our power and how to exert our power and what to give our power to and what to take our power away from, because they know how powerful we are. Nobody has the power to take away our power. The most they can do is convince us that we don't have power. or they can convince us to put our power towards something else and somewhere else. So with that being said, y'all be mindful to who y'all listen to and what energy y'all decide to absorb, project, and reflect into your space, because you are very powerful. And when you're in that Lilith, you are very powerful times 1,000. Okay, so be careful with that, and be wary of these people that eat that shit, because there's a lot of tarot readers and spiritual readers and just conscious people overall that really eat on that energy, and are rooted in that energy when they're on these ones and zeros. And you know, if that's the energy you like and you want to be around it, cool. Like, I deal with the left hand too, and even when dealing with the left hand, I don't deal with that kind of energy. It's still empowerment and powerful without it being rooted in toxicity and all that stinky stuff. So be mindful of that. Hey Ozzy, peace to the goddess. When we get into the sixth house, now we're in that space of harvest. Thank you, thank you. And what you get and what is what you receive. So that sixth house in our thought process starts in Sagittarius, starts in Scorpius energy, in that space of transformation. And then it moves into that Sagittarius energy of expansion and abundance and joy and, you know, all that fun stuff. And the events of things, it starts off in Scorpius energy. So the events around us are going to be going through transformations. This is a wonderful new moon to manifest things, but you have to put your seatbelt on after you do this shit, because everything around you is going to change to put you where you want to be. And that's why in the beginning, when I was chatting, especially with that sun, moon, and Mercury, or the new moon we just experienced on the 23rd with the sixth house, Lilith and Vertex being there in the sixth house, having all that energy in Virgo, Mars being in Virgo, South Node being in Virgo, Sun and Moon being in Virgo. All these spaces is telling you, listen, to get from where you are to where you want to be, work it out and pay attention to what it is you may have to give up and what you have to give into and all this stuff like that. Because when I tell you, baby, the energy is working in your favor. It's going to work in your favor, but you have to be aware of what's going to happen, and you have to keep it 100, which is some of you guys want things that y'all not willing to give certain things to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want the spotlight and the fame and all this stuff like that, but are you willing to deal with people always in your business? Are you willing to deal with the opinions and the constant intrusiveness and the lack of privacy and all that stuff like that? Some of you guys want a lot of money. Are you willing to deal with the people with their hands out, the people trying to shame you, the this, that, and the third? Some of y'all want to be in my shoes, okay? Y'all have no idea the shit I've been through to be in my shoes. I don't tell y'all everything. I don't know if y'all need a disclaimer or not, but these shoes is real big, cuz. And I've been through a lot of things, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Are you ready to do the work and go through the things and still keep peace amongst the things? Because, baby, I don't look like nothing I'm going through. And I don't look like nothing I've been through. Okay? You have no idea. You have to ask yourself these questions. Certain things you gotta be willing to give up. Now, when we get into the seventh, now above the horizon, there's not many celestial planets. We kind of we get a little light here. So, you know, I won't be going through as much as I just went through with the beneath the horizon realm. But once we go above, now we're going from the 7th house to the 10th house. All right. So now we're in our space of interpersonal relationships, that balance, that truth in our mindset. It starts in Sagittarius energy. So we're very optimistic about it. Y'all feeling good. Y'all feel like the blockages have lifted. We love it here. We're getting our wisdom from the oracle and the stages and the events of things. There's transformation still happening. Truth still coming out. You know, then we go into the 8th house of transformations and empowerment. You know, and our mindset is starting in Capricorn energy of, you know, the GOAT. Slow and steady wins the race. Being determined, being consistent, being resilient, being persistent. All that matters in this space of transformation. You know what I'm saying? Stand on your ones and twos. You said you wanted this. Stand on it. And the events of things at 8th house is keeping you in that Sagittarius energies. Stay expanded. Stay abundant. Keep giving back. Give like you have it to give. When you start giving from a space of lack and stuff like that, it's going to be like the universe is going to be like, oh, she lacking? Wait, she lacking. She lacking. She can't give. She lacking. She lacking. Or he lacking. So be mindful of that. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about love. Some of y'all got enough love for 2 people. Some of y'all only got enough love for yourself. But then you want everybody to love and adore you. That's not how it works, baby. You either gotta, you gotta give abundance to get abundance. Okay? What you put in is what you're gonna get out. And that's what this harvest moon is showing. You know what I'm saying? That's this pregame that we got in this month of 8. It's showing. Okay? It's showing. Because when we get to October and the language is 8, and we're gonna be in that Scorpius zodiac energy. Because right now we in the numerology of 8. When we get into the astrology of 8, y'all really gonna be feeling it on that realm of things. You know, so embrace this pregame that we got to have. You know what I'm saying? Then we get into the ninth house. Now the ninth house, now we finally get into a celestial body. We have Pluto there, creating transformations in our ninth house. Empowerment, still more empowerment to your expansion and your abundance. Businesses, y'all tapped in, y'all want to get into business, whether you're an entrepreneur or you want to be a contractor or you want to be a vendor or you even being an employee. Please, no. Listen, everybody is important. Don't let nobody up here convince you, oh, you gotta be an entrepreneur or you ain't shit. Listen, we need employees too. Some of these entrepreneurs need employees. They over here wrecking their brain trying to wear 20 hats for one business. I don't understand. If y'all look at everybody successful has hundreds of people around them to help them be successful. Hundreds. Tens to 100. Maybe a couple hundred. They have somebody for everything. Look, Beyonce went to having Michelle and Kelly to now she got a whole dance team, marching band, lights, film, all this stuff. She need like 10 lawyers now at all times because people be tripping every little thing she do. Somebody trying to get a lawsuit out of her and her husband. Like it's always something. It's always something. She doesn't even have to pay for marketing too much anymore because she got thousands of y'all, if not millions of y'all sharing her shit. She don't even got to do nothing no more on that realm with things for real, for real. That's how it works. So if you only got enough love for you and you only in your shit and you want to be on your throne and you want to be by yourself and da-da-da, how successful do you really expect yourself to be? Like, let's be for real. Work on it. Work on it. Expand, 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 and let Pluto create those transformations to do so. Now, in our mindset, Pluto is creating those transformations and revealing those truths in our Aquarius realm in the ninth house. Okay? So, on our rebellious, our revolutionary self, you know, how we think you know, Aquarius deals with the ketters, you know, the downloads, you know, into our first Sephiroth, our star energy, you know, empowerment there. In the events of things, the transformation is happening in our structure because Pluto is still in Capricorn energy, now at a 7th degree. So it's happening in our structure. So you see a lot of these businesses rising and falling. You see the federal government falling apart. That shit was Capricorn hard as hell. That created a whole skeleton. That was the infrastructure of racism. Is the government, the education system. All of their different departments are falling apart. Why? Because Pluto is there restructuring them. Now, is it to say they're going to completely go away? No, they're being restructured on their own end. Now, if you're allowing your root chakra to be ruled by those powers that be, then you are also undergoing the same exact reconstruction there are. So you probably over there like, Master, what's happening? Why are we sick? I hate here. Now, if you are in charge of your own root chakra and you are still undergoing transformations, empowering transformations, and for those of you guys who are allowing the United States of America or state of or whoever the fuck ever it control your root chakra, you guys are going through empowering transformations too. I ain't gonna take that away from you because it is hard to go to work every day for free. It is hard to get laid off. It is hard to be, you know, transported to a whole nother, you know, state for your job, you know, and now you got to move your family, you got to move your schedule around. Those are empowering transformations. I ain't gonna take that away from y'all, but it is, you know, there's different worlds, different things going on at the same time. The structure is falling to be rebuilt. It's not going to go away. It's just being rebuilt. Now you choose where you want to be at during the rebuilding process. It's your world, you know what I'm saying? But that's what Pluto's doing over there in the ninth house. We're gonna stay positive. We're going to stay empowered. We're going to stay, you know, philanthropy is definitely big here because, you know, we need unity. You know what I'm saying? We need to help one another. Creating that sense of like utopia is here too. Be mindful of overindulging, you know, into these things. You'll feel it when you do. You feel like you're getting pulled outside of yourself to be a part of something. Then, now we're at the 10th house. We're at the 10th house of success. Right? So I see line is in the opposition. I see line is, you know, emotional MC line is material. Okay. So now we're in this material realm of success. We've made it to the 10th house. There are no celestial bodies in the 10th house, but the 10th house in our mindset is in alignment with Aquarius energy, that intellect. Um, Aquarius energy also is associated with the root chakra. It's our thoughts. It's our thoughts on the things. And then Capricorn is the response to the thoughts. Capricorn is the physical of, so in my thoughts is like, this person has the power. This person is in this position, and that means that they do this. And this person, are they doing their job? Yes or no? Da da da. And Capricorn is responding with the challenges to those thoughts. To say, hey, are you going to stay in that thought or not? You know what I'm saying? So that's that there. We don't have any celestial bodies there. The 10th house in our events is from Capricorn to Aquarius, so it's heavy on our root chakra. Doing the root chakra work. Some of you guys got to uproot yourselves. Also, another good talking point that we did in Sunday service. Shout out to African Village. I love it there. I'm getting my little sense of belonging. You know what I'm saying? But another talking point was, talking about our family tree and how our tree has been uprooted. How, the powers that be have uprooted our tree, took our roots, we're lost people, da da da. These are my thoughts. We are powerful people, and we have the power to plant new trees. And that new tree that we plant is going to be more powerful than the trees that we already had. They're going to be more powerful because we have more empowering. We've dealt with so many empowering experiences that we have survived time and time again. Whether you want to be literal and talk about our ancestors, the rise and fall of them, or you want to be esoteric and talk about the many lives that you lived throughout these centuries we've just lived through. You know what I'm saying? Either way, they have been empowering, and they call on us to build stronger trees, to have stronger roots, to be present. Now, we can look at the past and learn from the past and see what was what and what's where, but to keep trying to sit in the past and time travel to it all the time is not doing us any service, and it's not planting the trees that we need today for our youth of tomorrow. Because while a lot of us are choosing not to have children, a lot of us already made the choice to have children. And so for that reason, we need to create a reality for them. We need to plant some roots of culture and freedom and independence for them. We need our stories for them, to show them what we've accomplished, what we've overcome, what we're good at, what our talents are, and give them to them. I know my lineage back to my grandparents on certain sides of my family. For me, those are very strong roots in itself. That's hundreds of people. That's hundreds of people. Cousins, siblings, husbands, that's hundreds of people that I could look at right now to establish roots with for my children. You can do it. We can do it. You know what I'm saying? I know that some people are obsessed and fixated on time traveling to the past and just living there and just being there. But there ain't no trees there no more. So be present. Let's plant some new trees and provide a reality. And some of us are young. The women in my life lived to be 100, and those was the ones that didn't have the best diet in the world. They didn't have the best, skills and keeping myself together skills. We do, right? Aren't we? We're fasting. We have different diets. We're more aware. We're even more aware of the fabrics we put on our skin, the air that we breathe, all these different things we're more aware of, and we're being more empowered through our mindset of awareness in these things, right? So I will predict that eventually we're going to start living longer and longer because of that. So wouldn't you want to live in a better space where you have roots, where you have a culture, where the culture that is more inclusive to you, that brings you more of a sense of belonging? You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, if you want to time travel for real, a lot of that stuff y'all trying to go back to don't include you. You know what I'm saying? You would have been outcasted. You probably would have been stoned to death. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't always the nicest of people. We was beheaded. It depends on what tribe you from. You want to go over you from a tribe in Africa, or you from a tribe in the Americas? Neither one of them was doing righteous stuff. That's why it was so easy for such parasites to get in there, to get in. If you're not treating your body right, what happens? You get cancer. You get parasites. You get illnesses, right? We were ill as a tribe. Tribes weren't moving as a body. That made it easy for the cancers to come in and do what cancers do. You understand? All right. So moving forward, we're more well-minded. We're more on the unity. I hope some of y'all not, and that's because y'all time traveling. Y'all want to stay divisive. That's on y'all. You'll realize the more you time travel, the more divisive you become, and the more people you see yourself arguing and debating with to be true, to be righteous, to be right, to be correct. Real shit. Real shit. I noticed it. I noticed it. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but them time travelers, y'all the most divisive people. Y'all are not united. Y'all gotta be the right one in the room, and if you're not, you become very insulting. You're no better than those people in the past that got infiltrated, and you're just leaving yourself open to be infiltrated again. And we see it time and time again. A lot of y'all end up in jail with those false accusations. Is that righteous? No, but you're open to let parasites in because you and your ego, and you're not being well, and you're not treating the body well. Y'all ain't gotta agree with me on that. I see it. So we come into the 11th house. Now we in that house of Aquarius. I was about to say it's okay to be unique and united. You know that's my mantra. It's okay to be unique and united as we enter this 11th house, and now we up in the North Node. Now we in that space of where we're moving towards. We want to move towards this space of expansion. We want to move to that air of intellect and the Ketters and the Asar. There's no line like when you think about coloring, right? When you think about Aquarius, there's no lines on that coloring paper. You just coloring. There's no lines. There's no division. There's no you over here and I'm over here and this is over here and that's over here and this is it's none of that. A lot of y'all claim to be in y'all chokma. A lot of y'all claim to be in y'all Asar. Y'all use these names on y'all Facebook and stuff like that, but y'all not living it. Because if y'all was living it, y'all would know that it's not it's no lines there. It's no there's no division there. It's all connected, it's all one. There is no right or wrong. In fact, I keep forgetting the chokma to chokma's Tahuti. There we go. My bad. So a lot of y'all want to be there, but are you behaving like you're there, or are you staying in that Bina, that understanding, that Saturn energy? You know, let me see. Now, there's nothing wrong with being in the Bina and the Saturn energy. That's important too. You know what I'm saying? We need that sense of understanding because that's how we create into this physical realm. That's when we start getting into the laws of physics, of physical things. You got the laws of metaphysics. That's when we get into the chokma. But you got the laws of physics when we get into the Bina, the understanding. And it's okay. Bina is Seker and Tahuti. Those are the two I forget a lot. Yeah, it's okay to be in that sense of understanding and start drawing lines to color inside of. That's perfectly fine. That's how we bring things into the physical because there's certain laws here. You know what I'm saying? But certain conversations, if you want to, when you bring the laws of physics into the metaphysical conversation, you're not doing yourself a service. And you're not really in your chokma. And you're definitely not in your Asar. Okay? There's no lines there. There's not no right or wrong or anything like that. So be mindful of that. Yeah, so we have by the time I'm still on the 823. So we've made it to the 11th house when we start this new moon cycle. Like I said, we have the North Node there. We're moving ourselves towards and that Pisces energy in our thought process, that belief, that spirituality, those deep waters of Olokun. We also have Saturn providing challenges. There's challenges that are going to come to society, and those challenges are in response to what's in the 5th house, which is Mars and that Libra on those Libra scales. So that motivation to create justice and harmony. Challenges are going to come to that, says Saturn. Neptune says Neptune that's next to Saturn, which will remain next to Saturn for some time because these are very slow moving planets. But Neptune says this is spiritual. This is a blood. This is generational. This is thing. This is Akashic. These challenges are Akashic. That motivation with Mars and Libra, that is Akashic. It's deeper than this actual physical realm. We talk about that a lot when I was saying like all the shit that you see happening in the physical with the fall of the Capricorn energy and Pluto creating those transformations between Aquarius and Capricorn is also happening in the spiritual community. These people was able to do spells for centuries, and there was entities responding to those spells. Those entities need to see their day in court too. Just like these beings, all these beings need to be on trial for treason and trespassing against the people and going against the treaties and all stuff. That's happening on a spiritual level too. And you'll see a lot more good people, good-hearted people move to the other side because they are the ones, those are the judges. They have to go to the other side because they're the ones that have to go over there and make certain decisions. They have work to do over there. So I know they say, why is it good? Why is the people da da da? That's why. Because they got something to do over there. They did everything they could do over here. They did a lot over here. It's time for them to go over there and do some stuff. There is time for them to, for there's spirits that have been creating spiritual treason. You know what I'm saying? They y'all had no business responding to them people's calls, to them people's sigils. You know what I'm saying? Helping them do that physical stuff in this metaphysical world. You had no business. So now we have to, certain things have to happen. Certain justices need to be made. And as Mars sitting in opposition in that Libra energy, that's what's happening over there with that. And that's what's happening in the tropical, in the Vedic chart, the events of things. We have Saturn and Neptune still sitting in Pisces. So still giving us that vibe of this is spiritual. This is spiritual. This is deep. This is spiritual. This is Akashic. All right. I said in the tropical they were in Aries. I must have skipped that, but it's new beginnings happening there. That's why I said the thing about the people ascending. My apologies if I skipped over that sentence. Now we get into the 12th house. Now we're in the Pisces house. This is the house of endings. How are we wrapping this up? We're wrapping this up with Chiron over there in Aries. Chiron is now in Aries on the tropical and on the Vedic chart. Chiron deals with our wounds and how we transmute our wounds into strengths. Okay. And so Chiron is sitting over there giving us new beginnings in that space of things and that 12th house. This is Akashic, the wounds that we're dealing with as a community, as a country, as a state, as tribes, as people, as families. Those are generational. It gets deep. You know what I'm saying? You're healing generational things. And it's not just about money. Now, the Federal Reserve pisses me off. The Federal Reserve I can't wait for them to see their day with Pluto and Capricorn and Aquarius, because them motherfuckers, Jerome Powell can eat a dick. I can't stand them. I'm just now seeing an article. All of this that Trump has been doing, I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm saying that the Gemini, he's ruled by Gemini. He's under the energy of Gemini. When he came into office, Gemini was in a certain place, and there was certain placements in Gemini to show that this man was going to be assisting in the destruction. The fact that Pluto is in Aquarius, which is in the air energy, and his sun is in Gemini, that air on air, he is a part of the destruction. In his campaign, he talked about his desire to destroy inflation. His people said they can get inflation down to 1%. This is the chessboard I've been watching. Am I attached to it? No, not really. I don't care. But this is the chessboard that I find the most intriguing, and also because this is the chessboard that most people are not paying attention to at all, if any. You know what I'm saying? And on this chessboard, he has been doing a lot with the money. You guys notice he's doing everything but cutting y'all a check. Why? Because if he cuts y'all a check, y'all gonna start moving the money around, and that's what the Federal Reserve wants. They want the money to keep moving. If the money keeps moving, they don't have to change anything. In fact, they can keep turning up the temperature, turning up the inflation, and seeing y'all behavior stays the same. Y'all just gonna get another job. Y'all just gonna sell another ebook. Y'all just gonna do another this, another that, and the money still, cycles. We're finally getting to a point where they're paying attention to the housing market, and they're like, oh shit, the houses are not being sold. Duh. You thought we weren't going to get here? You know what I'm saying? We're being in a chokehold. There's no more flow. There's no flow. Somebody has took the water hose, and they're holding the water hose together. The water cannot come out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the chessboard I've been paying attention to. That in my mind, when I look at Chiron and that space of new beginning, especially when I look at the history of money and how these folks came over here with their little deer skin dollar and all that other paperwork shit they came over here with, and suddenly got people to bend at the knee, between their weapons and their paper. You know what I'm saying? Not a fan of neither one, but we see both of those things undergoing new beginnings heavily, right? And so to me, that's what Chiron and Aries is. Now, everybody has their own ideas of what the different wounds are. Some of you guys are obtaining the Federal Reserve notes. Y'all want more of them. Y'all, y'all want to flow. Y'all want to keep that energy flowing and stuff. I say we should come up with our own money. We should have our own money. And we did have our own money at one point in time. We had our own money that you can go to any Black Wall Street, no matter what city you were in, and that money was acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And then the Federal Reserve had their own money outside of Wall Street. We need to go back to that, to having our own currency. That's my opinion. If we can get our own currency well enough to get into BRICS, we should do that. That's definitely a power move. But that requires unique unity. That requires us to be in the Aquarius. And so we'll see. We just got into Aquarius. Pluto just got into Aquarius. We just got into Aquarius. So I'm be patient. But y'all know whenever y'all say something, I'm already 20 steps. Like, what the fuck? Also wrapping up in the space of endings is we have Uranus. Uranus is giving us those progressive pushes. In our mindset, it's in our community and communication. Hey Xena, peace to the goddess. In our events, the energy exchanges, Uranus is giving us the progressive pushes, and Taurus, which is what we have and how we feel. That wealth and that emotional, balance there. So we're wrapping those things up. Our wounds in this space and the new beginnings in this space, as well as the progressive pushes. Now that's how we started this new moon lunar cycle, this new moon and new moon cycle. Now when we get into the ending of it, we have the 7th house in Capricorn, finding that balance, that truth, the interpersonal relationships and the structure of it and our mindset. Now what's happening in the events is that 7th house is in Sagittarius. So it's in that expansion and abundance and finding joy and being our sacral chakra with it, while our mind is working on the root chakra of it all. Then we get into the 8th house. Pluto is in this home space of the 8th. By the time we get to this next, lunar cycle, Pluto will be in its home house of the 8th house of transformation. So heavy on the transformation, also heavy on the storms, because Pluto is associated with Oya. Oya brings the storms and the extra and all that. Go give grace to the Scorpios, because by then Scorpios be irritating as fuck. And I'm really, Xena, I get it. We all, I get it. I probably can't empathize, event by event, but we all going through it, and I'm proud of you for not sitting in it and going through it instead, because that is definitely a choice. Some people choose to sit in it and stay in it. But feel free to rewind this video back to the beginning if you want more insight on that. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer, because I have a meeting that I'm now 4 minutes late for. I'm still trying to get used to this time chain. I don't really like it. I don't really like doing stuff on EST because I'm an hour behind. I only like doing stuff I'm an hour ahead of. When I'm an hour behind, I get irritated. I don't want to deal with being an hour behind. Because it's 6 o'clock over here. No. But that's something I have to get used to. All right, so yeah, Pluto's over there, still in Aquarius, and you're EST too. See, I was in EST a month ago, but now I'm on CST. I've been dealing with some big transformations in my reality as well. I finally picked up and got the fuck up out of there, but I still got a little bit left. See, my Pluto placement is back at home, and it's just like, it's such an abusive relationship, I feel like, and so that they still have some of my belongings. And I have to go back and get the rest of my belongings so I can finish cutting that tie. I want to move. Yeah, I felt it in my spirit. I was like, I got to go somewhere. So now I'm over here and I'm out of my Pluto placement. I'm a little bit closer to my Jupiter placement. But now I'm staying with a Scorpio. So it's like, God damn it, I can't get away from this energy, bro. Like, I just want to cut it all off. I'll try my best, though. I'll try to be good. I'm trying to be good. But yeah, so that's all Pluto. Pluto is in the root chakra, creating those transformations, empowering transformations. So remember that when you're dealing with your root chakra and how things are being removed from your root chakra. Now, when we get into the 9th house, there are no celestial bodies here. However, the 9th house does start in that Aquarius energy in our mindset. So being revolutionary and, our sacral chakra and what brings us joy. What brings you joy may not bring everybody else joy, and that's okay. The 9th house begins in Capricorn energy on the events of things, so that expansion and abundance is happening in the structure of things. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. You're beautiful as well. And then it ends off in Aquarius. Then we get into the 10th house. So now we're in this house. Now we're in the line of success with the MC line. We have the North Node here. Success towards where we're going. You're moving towards that Pisces and Aquarius energy. Pisces in your mindset of what your belief system, cutting things off, getting into that space of endings, being in your Akashic records, getting into the things hidden beneath the horizon, being in that occultism energy, in the events of things, being engulfed in that society, being, unique and united. That's where we want to move towards. You know what I'm saying? Then you have, of course, you have Saturn and Neptune here saying there's going to be some challenges. The challenges are in opposition of the 4th house because now we're in the 10th house. So by the time we get to the next new moon, Saturn and Neptune will be in opposition to Mercury and the eclipse. We actually have a cross happening in the next new moon. So you have Saturn and Neptune at the top saying, these challenges that's happening, they're going to bring you success. And, they're going to be towards that Pisces, Aries energy in our thought process. They'll both be in Pisces in the Vedic chart and what we believe in that space a bit of endings. And they're in opposition with our experience with the sun and moon and Mercury and our decision making skills. So when you guys make a decision, like I said, buckle the fuck up, because everything around you is going to mold to that decision, to what it is that you're trying to manifest, what it is that you're trying to have in your space. And you got to know that even through all of those challenges and things and the discipline and the order that it's going to call on you to have, it's working in favor to what you said you wanted. So be careful when you speak on what you want into your existence, because things are going to rise and fall dramatically for you to have it. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, but it's going to give you strength. You're going to be lifting those weights. And then that's the up and down part of the cross. Is Saturn and Neptune being in opposition with the eclipse and Mercury, the decision maker. Okay? And then we get into the 11th house. So now we're in that space of Aquarius. We're in the house of society. And what's happening in society is Chiron. By the time we're wrapping up these wounds, man. New beginnings to these wounds in society. As a society, we got to heal. Men need to forgive men. Women need to forgive women. Children need to be nurtured and not sexualized. Whether you were a sex abuser or a sex victim, y'all need to stop sexualizing these kids and let them be fucking kids. Yeah, especially you victims. You victims think y'all doing something righteous, but in reality, y'all are projecting a lot on these children, and y'all not allowing them to be kids, and you guys are exposing them to things that they don't need to be exposed to, probably would have never been exposed to had you not been projecting your own wounds onto them. So y'all be careful with that. All right? I don't know why I need to say that out my chest, with my chest, but Leo is right on the other side with the children when it comes to Aquarius. So in opposition of that Aquarius house is the Leo house, and you have Mars there, you have Lilith in the vertex there. Protect these kids. Protect these kids, okay? That's heavy there. Protect the wounds of that inner child. Protect and stop projecting them and reflecting them into your reality, into society, and protect these kids. 11 also deals with electronic communication. That also brings me back to the shit that's happening on Roblox, all the tightening up of the internet that's happening for these children. So, they need safe spaces. It seems like every time children have a safe space on the internet, here comes some adults shaking their ass and rapping and doing all of their toxic stuff on these platforms where initially it was just for children or students or whatever. Stop doing that shit. Let them, they need a space. You know what I'm saying? They need a space. I know we want to, let's limit their screen time, this, that, and the third. That's cool. Yeah, do those things. Monitor those things, However, they still need a safe space for them. Let's not take that away. Same thing with the children in the playground. That should be a safe space for kids. That's not the place for y'all to go and start doing y'all pull-ups and smoking weed and doing y'all push-ups and listening to toxic rap music and stuff. That's where the kids go play. Y'all go build your own park to go work out and do all that nonsense at. Y'all build your own park to make y'all rap videos and smoke weed at and have y'all little parties. That's not for y'all. That's the safe space for the kids. Y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. Hopefully that opposition with them placements in that 11th house and that 5th house do something to y'all, fix y'all. I don't know what the fuck wrong with y'all, but y'all be doing weird stuff and y'all keep polluting these kids' safe spaces, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Then we get into the 12th house. I'm gonna wrap it up. Wrap it up on the 7-11, right? 12th house is the house of endings, and of course we have Uranus here giving us the progressive pushes to wrap some shit up. Y'all keep walking around. Shouts to the goddess Jasmine. She's heavy on womb healing. You know what I'm saying? And some of y'all got leaky womb. That's her word, leaky wombs. Every time I hear leaky wombs. But y'all gotta wrap up a lot of y'all wounds. Uranus is here to progressively push y'all out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, we get it. It's a part of your story. You know what I'm saying? It brings you strength and empowerment. I love that for you. You keep walking around with it and projecting it into your space though. Like, you gotta know when you utilizing it incorrectly. Okay? Uranus is going to push y'all in communities to wrap some shit up. You know what I'm saying? Also, that 12th house energy deals with spirituality. You know, it deals with the Akashic records. It deals with yourself on a generational level. Uranus is progressively pushing y'all to y'all spiritual community. So let go. Let go of some of them physical things you stuck on. Let go of some of them things you said you wanted this community. You said you wanted to live off grid. Said you wanted to grow food. Said you wanted a spiritual man. Said you wanted a spiritual woman. Said you wanted all of these things. Well, let go of some of them things. Let Uranus show you how to let go of some of them things that's in the way, that is preventing you from having what you're asking for. And for some of y'all, it's the wounds that y'all been carrying like armor. It's some of those parts of your story. You got white knuckles holding on to it and projecting it into your reality, and you can't have that story and this reality at the same time. Okay, so yet let Uranus push you. You know what I'm saying? So in your mind, you're going to be pushed into new realms of intellect, new ways of thinking, opportunities, intellect, quick wittiness. In the physical realm, Uranus is pushing. Oh, y'all check on y'all Tauruses. Because while Uranus is in Taurus, it's progressively pushing what we prioritize in those emotions, as well as in the tangible things. Some of y'all, especially my Venusian rule babies, y'all be like holding on for dear life those physical things. I know y'all love nice things, but you know, sometimes, so Uranus is like, hey man, you gotta let go of that. You know, I got something better for you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust that something is happening and it's gonna be better. In opposition of Uranus giving you those progressive choices, those progressive pushes, you have the 6th house of harvest, of equality, of Virgo energy that's sitting in Scorpio, those transformations. Trust. What you put in is what you're going to get out. Okay? What you put in is what you're going to get out. And it's going to create those transformations, because in opposition, you got Uranus giving you those progressive pushes. All right? So keep that in mind too. In opposition to Jupiter giving you those expansion and that joy and that optimism, you got Pluto on, kind of on the border. But you got Pluto on the other side creating transformations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, coming into that space of opposition. So remember that transformations have to happen when you're in that space of expansion and abundance. You know what I'm saying? So we, like I said, we do have a cross. You got Saturn and Neptune giving you those Akashic challenges to your, you know, your root chakra, your belief system, and all that stuff like that in the 10th house. You know, so success there, and it's coming down to the 4th house, of sense of belonging. So allow your sense of belonging to help you with that success and those challenges. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for support. Don't be afraid to walk into those nurturing spaces and be open and honest about the challenges you're dealing with. It's okay. That's what you're supposed to have. The sun and moon is in opposition with Mercury, the decision maker. Okay? And then on the east and west side of this cross that I'm chatting about, you got Uranus giving you the progressive pushes and Pluto providing you with the transformations. All right? So a lot of stuff is happening in that realm. Okay? Thank you, Evelyn. So a lot of stuff is happening there. So I'm telling y'all, when y'all go under this, please do not listen. My baby spiritualists, oh my God, my heart was just like, talk to the babies. My baby spiritualists, please do not play with energy you're not ready for. If you're not ready for the transformations, for that big shit that you trying to manifest, don't manifest it yet. Don't manifest it yet. Some of y'all be sacrificing people. Y'all be sacrificing people because what y'all want is real big, and it requires a real big emotional sacrifice. When I say this, I think about Once Upon a Time, when the witch, in order for her to be mayor of that town and create, and do y'all know Once Upon a Time? That's my shit. There's, you got the whimsical town. Nobody knows they're fairy tale creatures. So Henry goes and finds his real mom and tells them, everybody in this book, but they all lost their fucking mind. They don't know who they are. Well, in order for that witch to be in charge of that town and for everybody to lose their memory, stuff like that, she had to pull the heart out of her dad. And she loved her dad. She loved her dad. But she had to be heartless. And she had to, that was the big sacrifice for that big thing that she wanted. Some of y'all want big things, but y'all not ready for that big ass sacrifice. Like these people, these celebrities in this space that sell their soul. You know what I'm saying? They selling their soul over. They don't got no privacy. They're not themselves. They can't date who they want. They can't have babies with who they want. They can't live their life in peace. Some of them can't even go out to eat in peace. So they can't do anything without being underneath a magnifying glass and scrutinized and dealing with everybody's opinions and PR calling them, telling them to delete this and wear this and do this and do that. They don't have control of their lives at all. And some of them don't even have control of their children. And now some of them are even automatically selling their children. Y'all think that y'all over there being jealous of nepotism? Do you understand what they're pulling their children into without their knowledge? For real, for real? Come on now. Come on now. They pulling their babies into these situations. And then y'all y'all ridiculing and having opinions on, they had to sacrifice the family member. They had to sacrifice it. Yes, they did. For that big fucking thing they wanted. People had to be sacrificed. Things had to be sacrificed. Places had to be sacrificed. So keep that in mind to my baby spiritualists, my baby tarot readers, my baby manifestors, all that. Y'all new in this and y'all want big, 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 big things. Ask yourself, because Pluto is over there already. Uranus is over there already. Sun and Moon and Mercury is down there already. And Saturn and Neptune is up there already. That is a crazy cross to fuck with. Okay? Y'all be careful with what y'all manifest with that cross. You gonna get it, but you gonna sacrifice to get it. Alright? So that is the planetary forecast. I'ma read y'all out. So the theme of the reading, ginkgo is the herb, y'all. Breakthrough. We got the 3 and 9, and we know that the eclipse in the next new moon is on 9 and 3. It's on 9/2/19, 9 and 3. So we got that 3 down pat. You want to focus on Mars and Uranus. Just so happened that Mars and Uranus is on the forefront. So that's what you want to focus on for your breakthrough, your motivation and the progressive pushes that's going to come out of it. We have the 8 of Pentacles. Transformations happening in the physical, not right at this moment, but it will be coming. So prepare for it when you guys are manifesting. And the 9 of Swords, we talked about this. You guys walking around with the moons, you're sitting behind them and, woe is me and all this stuff. Why is this happening? Y'all got to cleanse that stuff, especially if you guys manifest. Because it's like I got into it with the roots of America. It was rooted on some bullshit. And you guys in this country kept building on bullshit. And now it's all falling apart. You know what I'm saying? You can't build stuff on bullshit and expect the flowers to smell good. The flowers are going to smell like bullshit. Okay? Then we got Quest. We want to focus on our throat chakra. We're manifesting in our space. We're moving into, protect the babies, the inner child energy. We are the elders. We are you see the emoja, the water energy. We are the protectors. We are the mothers. We got to create nurturing spaces for our inner child, other people's inner child, children in general. What parts of self we going to focus on? I pulled the Hangman card. So as far as your Sephiroths or your Netarus to focus on, we got the 5th Sephiroth, which is Jabora, the Celestial Enforcer. This is our power. That solar plexus chakra, which is also Hera Kahuti. And then we got the Celestial Technician, which is Had. And we get into Mercury there. That's Sebek. Okay? So aligning your power force, your enforcer, with your intellect, with your ability to compartmentalize. Water is heavy here, okay? So that emotional connection between the two. And then be ready. Some of you guys are going to receive bad news. Sometimes that bad news is the progressive push that y'all need to go where y'all need to be. Remember, when y'all go to manifest, put the seatbelt on, because the things is going to happen. The things is going to happen. It's not always going to feel good. For every energy, there's an equal opposite energy. So that's my reading for y'all. I read y'all out. I love y'all so much. I'm trying to get into my stuff or whatever. The universe not letting me have a routine right now. I've been sleepy as shit. But I don't know why. As soon as I started doing this live and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm getting more and more energized. So thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for the energy. I really appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace, peace, everybody. Happy Monday.